Moore's Mill. That's a sketch by Wilbur Kurtz of Moore's Mill. Moore's Mill itself is actually a little bit to the west of this picture, right up in here. Federals under Davis's division, Morgan's brigade, came down and tried to cross the creek there on the evening of the 18th and then all through the 19th, but they couldn't. To his west, to his right, was the Chattahoochee River. In front of him was Peachtree Creek. To his left was a mill pond and a couple of creeks, Woodall, as well as Nancy Creek. And so he was perfectly bottled up. And oh, by the way, he attempted a forced crossing. Right in front of him was a huge, prominent hill that rose several hundred feet. And on top of it were Mississippians under Sears' brigade, and before that, some North Carolinian and Texas troops under Hector. The Wild Texans, they called them, under General Hector. They were just off to the west. So Moore decided to send his other two brigades over to the east a little bit, cross down at the headwaters of Greenbow Creek, where today's Boulder Road is. One of the unusual, or one of the differences between the Confederate and Federal forces was the Confederates usually fought by state. On occasion, they would mix regiments, but if they did, it was because that commander may have had ties to both states, or they were from the same region of like South Mississippi and South Alabama together, for example. And so that created uneven sizes sometimes. You might have a Confederate brigade of 2,000 men, or you might have a Confederate brigade of only 350 men, and yet they were treated on paper, and in the mind of the generals that were moving men around, they were treating them the same. And so what happened here was Reynolds was ordered to go in and cover the Peachtree Creek crossing, where a 1,500-man brigade, John Adams' Mississippi Brigade, had been for 24 hours. Adams' Mississippians are going to fall back around DeForest Ferry Road and rest. And while they're back here resting, there's just a handful of Arkansas troops that are ready to receive this surprise federal crossing, including the 25th Arkansas Infantry, and they get pushed back and lose a few men as the 52nd Ohio and 85th Illinois deploy. The 10th Illinois and a Michigan regiment that are actually climbing up here to fire out of the second floor and on the rooftop to try to get even with the hill that's on the other side of the creek. And that fighting goes on for a couple of days.